Well, welcome back. We are the Entrepreneur's Edge. And if you haven't met us before, let us introduce ourselves. So Danielle Martin.
Yes.
Who are you?
My name is Danielle J. Martin. I am the founder and owner of Authentic Media, also known as a personal brand strategist, helping people develop their personal brands and make sure that it aligns with who they actually are.
Love it.
So bringing their brands to life. And so I do that, podcast host, also TV host, and then business owner with you guys, co-owners. So just a little bit of everything.
I love it. And Anthony Blanco, who are you?
Mr. Blanco.
I am the dad of three that will, all of them are going to be getting ready to be out of the house. So that'll be a new adventure for my wife and I. I always tell people I get to have my girlfriend back. So that'll be fun.
Oh my gosh.
We are travel enthusiasts. As far as professional wise goes, Evie and I started an accidental business about 14 years ago, have scaled that to doing about $1.5 million through health and nutrition products and actual smoothie stores and building teams. I've also been a business coach for over 25 years, two-time global coach of the year through an organization of like 1,600 coaches. So yeah, I mean, that's personal and professional, just a little bit about it. But again, as Danielle said, like co-owner of this new endeavor that we got that we're super excited about. So yeah.
And this new setup, like, can you guys get into the setup here? We decided to do something a little moody, a little different.
Yeah.
I just appreciate
environment.
you guys like being patient.
Thanks for coordinating it. Absolutely. Yeah. And Danielle's being a little humble because with her background in broadcast journalism, she put this beautiful set together for us.
With the help of Kirsten and Anthony, okay?
Instructions,
like with the help.
Put this on here, put this over here.
Yeah, my version is help was saying, I don't know, you decide. I don't know, you decide. That was
so
my
funny.
help. Don't get involved in things I do not know about.
We're all the production assistant of our own set. So
Yes,
I just love that so much. But it's fun.
I'm Kirsten Flory. I am the third person, part of the Entrepreneur's Edge. I own a commercial real estate company. I've also had a podcast for the past, 6 years. And I love working with small business owners, but more importantly, I like to help people grow their wealth, whether it's through passive income or investment strategies and things like that. And I like to share stories about how I've helped myself and my clients navigate life through business. So exciting to be here with all of you today.
Let's go.
I know throughout the different conversations we've had with each other, whether it's on camera or off, I think one underlying theme, I think that underlines and weaves its way through all of our personal lives and business is the notion of character. Mm-hmm. And what does character mean for us personally and professionally? So I'm going to ask the two of you that question. I'm going to start with you, Anthony. What does character, the word character, mean for you personally and professionally? How does that work its way into your life?
So for me, foundationally, I go back to the Bible because that is foundationally, principally true as far as the things that I can follow in there. It does not waver due to circumstance or emotion, and it's not man-made ideas of what is good, right? Because what I have found is people tend to decide maybe what character is based upon what is in their best interest to either be right or to be right on something.
Right.
So I go through those, I hold those standards, and then I always go back, whether it's a decision I'm making or whether somebody else is making, I will say, does this fit inside these principles of character inside the Bible?
That's
I love
so
it.
good.
Danielle, what about you? What does character mean to you?
That's good. I would say it means to be the true reflection of Jesus Christ. It's truly what I believe character is. Now, I think if you would ask me that question last year or a year ago, I think I probably would have said something different.
Okay.
But I think that growing into the person that I am today, it's truly what reflects Jesus Christ, because we are supposed to become more like him. And truly, to sum that up, for me, it's to be the light in the darkness. So everywhere I go, whatever room I'm entering in, it's how can I be the light here? Not focused on me, but more so, how can I be a help to others? How can I make other people smile? How can I open the door, pick up, something that fell off the ground? Just more so, how can I serve others? Mm-hmm. Is truly what character means to me.
Yeah. I think that's great.
How about you?
Yeah, I would say it's how you show up. And I think sometimes throughout your life, if you're younger in your life or younger in career, I think a lot of people are challenged by figuring out what character means for them. I think it's not only the words that come out of your mouth, but the actions and how you show up and how you react to people. I think in my world, working in a high-powered business negotiating environment in real estate, I always approach the world from a win-win. I know even though I'm representing my client and want to make sure they're getting the best deal on their side, I think character comes in where you're realizing that everyone has to walk away from the table feeling like they've won, feeling like this is a positive experience, because you don't know where people are coming from, and trying to figure out personalities and how that all plays into it. And I think if you can bring a character that has integrity and grace, and speaking with your faith too, but I think it comes in a business perspective as well as a personal perspective. But I don't think if you're not acting in good character in a personal perspective, that will never play in to your business world in a positive way.
That's true.
Totally agree.
Yeah, it's always interesting because I see people use character very vaguely, so it's never really defined. And so it's important that when you have the subject of character come up, because I hear it all the time when I'm coaching businesses, when I'm out speaking, and people are like, our business, one of their key things, 10 pillars of our business, and one is like character.
Oh, yeah.
And I always ask, what is character?
What is character?
And they ramble,
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Right? Because it has to be defined.
Yeah.
And I think what Kirsten just did was start to go down a little bit more of a definition on it. So like when I gave my answer, Danielle gave her answers, it was philosophical, right? Kirsten gave more of a direct answer of starting to define down. So the right answer is to take the philosophy and the definition and pair those two, so that way you have a definition or what it actually looks like, so when you either in or out of character.
Oh, yeah. That's so good.
And you've
That's so
actually,
good.
Anthony, you've talked to me in the past about kind of your personal mission statement
Yes.
and evolving over time, and kind of doing these checks and balances with yourself about like, okay, is this align with where I'm at? Can you talk about how you put that together and what that means to you?
Well, a personal mission statement, if you're talking about like, my name is Anthony Blanco, I am passionately pursuing people on purpose, for his purpose.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is my overall mission statement. Now, what is my assignment inside the mission is different in how I execute that. But how I put that together was I had to think about what is my desire? What do I have a pain for, or what burden do I carry in my heart? And then for character for me is I have to be inside how I was made to execute at the highest version of that assignment inside the mission. Right. So what most people do is when we talk about character, we can go into being authentic.
Yeah.
Right. And so what is authentic?
Yeah.
I mean, we could chase that for like 10
forever.
minutes,
Yeah.
right? Because somebody says I'm authentic, but what they're really saying is I am a reflection of what I pay most attention to. And then you have to start saying, well, what are you paying most attention to? Which your circumstances are, your environment, your people, places, friends, what you read and what you listen to, like all those things, because all those things is what you think or what you read, what you pay attention to ends up getting input, right, through your eyes or your ears.
Yeah.
Those things then develop your thoughts. Those thoughts then become your normal habits or actions. Those are what a lot of times people end up defining as character. Does that make sense?
That makes
Yeah.
perfect
So one of the
sense.
first things that I had to do was do deep work for me. I know Danielle's talked about that before, is like the being, right, of the be do have, is our being needs to have work done, so that way we can be clear on the impact that we're trying to make.
Yeah.
And so if I truly am, my name is Anthony Blanco, I'm passionately pursuing people on purpose, for his purpose, then what I have to do is I have to ask, is this action or the way I'm having this conversation or the way that I'm building this person, is it in alignment with this statement
Yeah.
all the time?
That's good.
That's so good.
What are your thoughts on that?
No,
How's
that's
that
so
defined for you
good.
personally?
I think that speaks so much volumes, because I think when I look at actions when I look at my actions, and if I'm not reflecting the things that I believe in, then I'm not in character, kind of like what Anthony said. So sometimes I find myself in these environments or around people, especially gossip. Gossip drives me insane.
Yeah.
And so then I have to ask myself well, how did I get here? Did I get pulled here, or did I enter the room and get myself involved? And if so, then I need to remove myself, or I need to just like listen and just have no comment, right? Because like based on the circumstance or environment, I may like need to be there for work or anything like, or something like that. But like I have found myself in these situations where I'm constantly evaluating my action of like, does this align with me being the light in the darkness? And if not, then I need to check myself, not everyone else, because it's no one's responsibility for your like true personality, or it's not your it's no one's responsibility for like your actions, right? Like you have to control like who you are. And so I've like stopped this whole thing around, well, this person did this to me and that person did that to me. It's like, no one did anything to you. What did you allow to happen?
And how did you react to it?
And how did you react to it? So I think like I just loved everything that Anthony said around making sure that you're checking your actions with your mission. And so lately for me, it's been around, okay, am I being true here? Am I being authentic here? And if not, then I'm either going to remove myself or get myself in alignment so I can continue living out the mission that I know that I'm called to do so. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, it's been just kind of taking an audit on myself. One of the things recently that I've noticed is like there's just a lot of distractions that can take place around you, whether it's on social media, whether it's in a conversation that you're having with other people. And so I think that it's like, okay, if you're noticing these distractions are taking place, like how can I put myself in this like silo or this like arena of protecting myself to where I'm not like getting sidetracked by these other things like gossip and social media and all of these just random things that are like happening. I personally think that they're distractions. I don't know about you guys, but it's like as you're on this process of like becoming who you're called to be, there's just a lot of disruptions that can take place. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's like really staying true to, okay, am I in alignment here? And if not, then like, what do I need to do to get back on track?
You bring up a good point. I'm glad you also brought up the gossip and just how other people come into your life and other influences. Distractions is a great word to use. I see a lot of people, for lack of a better word, vent. They want to vent. Mm-hmm. And I think we all like to vent sometimes, especially when we've come across a challenge or had a hard day, or I just need to get this off my heart and my mind. I need to...
Let me know how.
Get it out there.
Let me tell you about my day, and it's like this like heaviness, and it's like even paying attention to that when you're walking away from someone and you feel lighter or heavier.
Yeah.
Do you ever like check yourself on that?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I feel so like.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Isn't that funny?
I've done. I mean, I catch. You know, what's terrible is that when you become self-aware, you're like. Sometimes you're 3 words into the thing that you know you shouldn't be talking about, but you finish it anyway, and immediately you're like, I got to go take a shower.
I shouldn't have said that.
I should have. That was self-serving. It was selfish. It was done with selfish ambition. That's not what's inside my character. Shut up.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, too, if we think about where we are most, I don't know if vulnerable is the right word, but I think about my husband and, you know, love him, trust him. He's my sounding board, but he's also my dumping ground sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I would say, he even said to me early on when I switched careers, and he's like, and I would come home every day and I would call it venting. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't looking for advice, but he said to me, he let it go for a few weeks. He goes, do you have a bad day every day?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, whoa, no. He's like, because you never talk about the good things.
Yeah.
And he's like, but yet I see how excited you are about this new venture and this vision you have for your life. But I don't hear about that.
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad he said that to me in a very, just reflection, like held the mirror up to myself. Yeah. And I'm going to challenge all of you listening to this. It's like, I think we get in this, it's almost like a crutch.
Yeah.
I hear excuses. I hear the world is happening to me instead of me. I'm reacting proactively to it, or I'm choosing to respond in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And if we think about how we build our character and build the muscle around our character, it's being acutely aware of that. So everything that comes out of your mouth and every action you have is in line with what your true character wants to be. And you can only define that.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be moments, and I have plenty of clients that they're feeling stuck, and they're feeling like, I got to get off this roller coaster or this merry-go-round or whatever it is, and I don't know how. So I'm gonna challenge both of you. When either of you have been in a time in your life, personally, professionally, where you realized I got to get off this whether it's the toxic merry-go-round, the wheel. It is not in line with my character. I don't feel good about it.
Yeah.
How did you take that step, and how did you get off of that?
So recently, in like the last year or so, there's a person, and this has only happened like maybe like 2 times that I know of, or I think maybe that I was aware to be upset about, is that there's a person about a year and a half ago, did not like the way that Evie and I made a decision on something. Okay, there was no questions asked. There was just assassination of character. There was accusations, and then there was gossip on their end. Right, but they never ask questions. They just come across yelling. And Evie and I are always like, hey, listen, there's something they need to get off their chest. They're not willing to learn and ask questions at this point. When they are, we're ready to answer those questions. But right now, they're just a super angry little elf, right? And so we're okay with that because it's not about us, it's about them. What I get super irritated about, so I don't get physically, emotionally responsive to when I'm being attacked. What I get upset about, and this was where I had to wrap my head back around, is then that person then started telling the gossip, the other people lies about what Evie and I were doing. And then that person believed those lies. And now the person, anything that Evie and I do, they're judging against something that they said because of this person was unethical and out of character. And then that this person says, Anthony and Evie say they're with character and integrity, but they did this thing. But they're lying.
Right.
But this person, now I would even say this person is ignorantly lying, not purposely lying. So they are believing their own truth, but then they're telling somebody else. So it's like that game of telephone.
Yeah.
Then this person, anything that we talk about, she's like, well, I can't do that because the Blancos are unethical or whatever, but she's believing a lie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So then I don't get upset for Evie and I get upset that this person's mind has now been corrupted. And for me, after people's potential is that their potential is being disrupted by imaginary false beliefs and insecurities by somebody else.
Yeah.
So then my mind gets all jacked up, and because I am I was bullied when I was younger, and I will not tolerate bullying. I don't like bullying. I do not like bullying from marketing, from media, from bosses, from jobs, from the society. I don't like it, and I don't like people being bullied by other people unwillingly, knowingly they're being manipulated, right? So I get upset because I want to protect someone's mind from that poison. Yeah. And in reality, what I have to do is, instead of me talking about it, which I talked about it maybe for like a week to maybe 1 or 2 people, but then I had to sit back and be like, this is not my fight.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. That is a hard one.
It's not my fight.
Yeah.
Because what has been done is done, and what will be, will be. So now I just got to redirect my focus, because anything I do to try to prove to this person who was misled by this person is just going to support, in their mind, this person.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's tough, though. That
It
is
is.
a tough muscle to flex.
Yeah.
Because I think inherently you want to be liked,
Right.
and you want to prove yourself, right? But at the same time, it's like you can't control other people.
Right.
You can't control their thoughts or actions. All you can control is how you react to them.
Right.
And that is and sometimes you have to walk away.
Right. Right. And I feel, and I'm compassionate for both of these individuals. Like I believe their heart is pure. I believe that they believe what they believe is true. I don't believe, maybe a little bit out of malice for one of them and not so much of the other, but I believe that no matter what it is, it goes back to a self-protection mechanism.
Absolutely.
And in the book, Ego is the Enemy, is that pride, arrogance, and ego many times shows up as insecurities.
Yeah.
And so we bolster how we show up in order to prove to people that we are good enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so I feel compassion for those people.
Yeah. Hands down.
So I had to go from convict, I want to convict them to compassion. And that's a hard,
That's the character of Jesus, though.
yeah.
So shout out to you.
Yeah, because I don't want to compat. I don't want to compassion. I want to destroy. That's my internal.
You want to
That's
prove.
your
You want
flesh.
to.
that's my
that's a
flesh.
tough one.
I get all riled up and I'm
Yeah.
like, stop.
And I think it's a natural defense
Jeez.
mechanism too.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, this is not me.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard when people are attacking you, even if it's, not physically attacking you. Hopefully nobody's physically attacking you.
Yeah.
But they're verbally attacking you. They're emotionally attacking you. They're attacking you within your community and spreading things. It is a hard thing to do to stand tall and stand in your truth. It is so hard to do. And but if you can do that, that builds your character.
Yeah.
Not that I want anyone to go through that, but I think we've all gone through those kind of things. So
Yeah.
talk to me about a time when you had to go through something like that.
I think it's a daily challenge that I'm currently dealing with. And I say this very carefully and respectfully around, individuals that enjoy, I will go back to this because like I said, it's something I'm just currently dealing with, but individuals that enjoy gossiping. And when you hear words come out of someone's mouth that says, oh, I enjoy gossip, I'm like, red flag. I gotta go.
Those words actually came out of somebody's mouth?
Actually came out and I said, oh, okay. I'm like, I gotta go. And this happened like a year ago. And so anytime I interact with this person, I remind myself, don't engage.
Yeah.
Or when you see something coming to the surface or you see it come to light so naturally, you're like, oh, I know what you're doing.
Right.
Like mentally, I'm like, I know what you're doing. I'm not falling for it.
Right.
And I think it's really, like I said, it's a daily challenge because I have truly the opportunity to engage or not engage. And so I think it's very difficult because when you're in this season of trying to grow your character, trying to become the best person that you are, and everyone around you is not in that same arena, it's very difficult. Kind of like Anthony said, you easily want to convict someone or you want to kind of just not necessarily talk down, but you want to just encourage them, but they will receive it as correction or they're going to be very opposed to what you're saying because it's not their language. They're not used to it. So they're going to look at you like you're crazy and they're like, why are you telling me that? And so having to move in the space of grace and compassion is a daily choice for me, I will say. And it's very, very difficult, but I think there's also another time when I've had an individual that I've helped throughout their journey of, health and character. And towards the end of their journey and process, they wanted to immediately cut me off. And, unfortunately, this person was dealing with a lot of, I would say, I guess, skeletons or the past, a lot of trauma that I think kind of, just was really affecting our relationship in a way because we went from being friends to now I'm the enemy. And it was kind of what just happened here?
Yeah.
What light switch went off? And so I think knowing her story and knowing this person's, life and background and things like that, it was very difficult to see, us go from being friends now I'm just going to support you and love you from a distance. And we were friends for maybe a good 2-3 years. And then one day it was just kind of I don't want anything to do with you.
Yeah.
I'm no longer, in support of what you have for me and things like that. And so I think it's very challenging, especially when you've worked so close with someone. And you've poured into them, physically, monetarily, everything. And then to just see the switch turn off, you're kind of just what?
It's hard. And it hurts your heart.
What happened here?
In some ways, it's not that any of us has ever been divorced, but it's almost like divorce, if you think about it.
And it's very, I'm very talking about this from a surface level.
Sure,
I'm I wonder if
absolutely.
Anthony knows who I'm talking about. I'm this is so surface,
But that's okay. But I think we can all relate,
Yeah.
on what that means.
Yeah, I think it was a huge wake-up call, though, because I don't think I've ever experienced something like that where you could work so closely with someone and then just, all of a sudden things just change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Oh,
You're
totally
staring
agree.
at me
Yeah,
like.
because number one is, we both have, if it is the person, we both have compassion for that person.
Yeah.
You don't take a hurting soul and then convict them.
Yeah.
Even if they are shutting us down or doing something that appears to the detriment of our character, principles, integrity, or wanting to be liked. It's a reaction from their story they tell themselves, and they're in a prison.
Yeah.
Right? And so many times that we don't have the key, they have the key. Right? And they will stand there and not unlock the gate.
Right.
Right? But they just don't realize it. Like there's a fantastic story with Harry Houdini, and I'll do the real short version of it. But he ends up he used to do all these charity break out of prison things in the jail cell. And they said, okay, we built this new cell, you can't break out. And they put the drape down. He's working. Normally he can get out in like 60 seconds or something like that. Secret is that his wife, they pass this lockpick set through their mouth. She puts it in her mouth, kisses him, puts it in his mouth, right? So he always picks the lock. Well, she did that. Well, they raised the banner or the cloth, and he still hadn't unpicked the door, still hadn't picked it. They said, well, I win, we're going to donate this much money. Fast forward, what ends up happening, he gets so exhausted, he collapses against the door after working on it for like 6 hours. He's like, I'm not getting out of here until I pick this lock.
Yeah.
Collapses against the door and it swings open. The door was never locked. So he was trying to pick the lock of an unlocked door. So the question is where was the door locked?
Yeah.
Right? It was in his mind.
Yeah.
And so many of these people that you've run into, probably you, maybe me, or not maybe, me, right? We've run into the door is open. They have the key, but their mind keeps it physically locked with their mind.
Yeah. I think what I've seen sometimes too is that I've encountered people personally, professionally, that look like opportunity. It looks like if I could collaborate with them or do business with them, my doors are going to open up wide because I see the amount of, maybe they're charismatic and they carry themselves with presence. They have a lot of influence in the community. They're in a field or a market that I want to get into. I'm like, ooh, I could just align with them.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the looks on your faces like you've been down this path before.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so you start this relationship and you're like, okay, wow, yes. And then over time, you realize that the character they bring to the table is not at all aligned with your character.
Right.
And how they do business or how they conduct themselves is not at all aligned with your character. And it's scary because you have to figure out, how do I remove myself from this situation? Because you don't want to make enemies. And, ooh, yeah.
Okay.
But how do you, I think about
ahead.
I was just going to say really quick, like, I love this topic because I find myself here more often than not, but I think it's exciting because it's just a reminder, like, not every money is good money.
Yes.
Right. Like
Yes.
not every opportunity is from God and things like that. And so there was an opportunity that I had to collaborate with a couple of individuals and it looked very like shiny, open, like, oh my gosh, this is God sent.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like God is
answering
making
all my
room for
questions as
me.
to what
Like
I'm
this
supposed
is
to be.
it, and it's like, okay. I think it goes back to like you have to make slower decisions and not get so excited around the opportunity and the shiny object because what's really behind that door.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, it was very uncomfortable to have that conversation, sit across the table from that person and say, I love you, I support you, but I cannot collaborate with you. But it's interesting because there's so much power behind that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there's so much power in saying no and not getting invited to the party all the time and not getting invited to the meeting all the time.
Yeah.
It's like there's something about exclusivity that is so powerful.
It's controlling.
It's
Yeah.
It's like if you just realize that like there's so much power in your no and you not being everywhere online and every meeting and every event all the time is like okay because more times than not like you're not missing out on anything. But I think for me, for someone who loves or used to like being outside and such an extrovert and all that stuff, it's just like I actually enjoy just like being over here and not involved in everything. Because also too, when I think about collaboration, you have to think about essentially your mission and your brand. And not every brand is a good collaboration. And so I know you guys may not be familiar with this, but sometimes, there's a lot of fallback on, Christian rap artists collaborating with like the world, like rap artists, like regular. So Maverick City collaborated with like Gorilla, right? Like there was a lot of controversy around that collaboration, but like, interestingly, if the missions align in a way, the music may not align, but if the mission aligns and if there's something bigger behind that, I think that sometimes we may not know all the details. And so I think that if your heart is in a good place and if you are coming together on the right mission, then it makes sense to collaborate.
Yeah.
But if you are realizing, or if you learn down the line, like, okay, this person believes in this and this person believes in that, but also, they've done business with this person and I don't agree with that. Like, I think it's important to make decisions slower.
Yeah. And I also think I've been tested myself over the years getting into, professional relationships and things like that. It might look great on paper and they're saying all the right things, but there's something in your gut that says something's off and I can't put my finger on it.
Yeah.
Pay attention to that. I feel like your personal intuition
Oh, yeah.
is something you really need to pay attention to, because and I can think of 2 to 3 instances, probably more than that, but like 2 that really pop in my head, where I let it go. And then at some point, sometimes it was a month later, sometimes it was years later, it's like, there it is.
Yeah.
That's why it told me. And I couldn't figure out what it was. And you ask, and you try to ask questions.
Yeah.
And you try to clarify. And I think the gut comes into is like, is that other person not answering your questions? Are they skirting around the issue? There's a sign. There's a gut check. I also don't want anyone to be afraid to, if you think about, we started this new conversation about like, the opportunity looks amazing, but something's not right. Create your own opportunity. I think people are afraid to be like, if this group isn't right for me, how can I put together my own group? Who do I want in my circle? I want to invite them to come to me instead of me feeling like the exclusivity. I need to get in with them. So that's a hard one to switch to. So what are your thoughts?
A couple things is when I'm making decisions based upon principles. There was a couple things that you've said throughout this time period, and I just listened to a podcast talk about it this morning, is leadership is not about being liked. Leadership is not about creating not like enemies. My principles I will follow. People will decide if they like me or they decide if they'll be my enemy. But I do not care whatever they decide. Because if I start caring what they decide, then it starts to redirect my principles. So now instead of serving my principle, I'm serving the person. And if that person's mind is in the gutter and what they're paying it. So if I would not hang out with that person, or I would not have a great coffee with the person, and I'm not aligned with the way that they are in the community, the why in the world do I care what they think or if they're an enemy of mine?
Yeah.
Right. And then Evie said this a while back ago. She said, it's crazy. Until we went into business, like 14 years ago, she's like, nobody disliked me. I was like Miss Popular and like me too. Like we were just like, everybody loved us, but we went into business and all of a sudden it was the first time that people were like accusing us of things. And it was just preposterous. It's crazy. I'm like, what are you smoking? But nobody would ever come to us.
Of course not.
Because it wasn't about defining truth. It was about assassinating our character, right? But that's the reason why we lead principle, character-driven lives based upon those principles, because it is not, the way we live is not a reflection of being liked by humans because so many of them, I mean, let's be real. Like if 67% of Americans are either on anxiety or depression meds, so that means they're anxious all the time, they're insecure and they're depressed, if that is true because of the feeling, whatever's going on in their lives, yet I'm dictating how we're leading our principles based upon people that are hurting and broken. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ugh, that's so true.
So good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think too that if we think about just human nature, for whatever reason, I think we all strive to be successful in our own way, whether we're successful as a friend or a parent or a business owner or whatever. And I think that's the three of us come together because we all want to be successful in our own way. And us collaborating, brings those pieces and areas of expertise to the table, which is very powerful because I think you can identify with one lane or the other or combine them all and think about how do you move yourself forward, whether it's, your business, your personal life, your financial life, things like that. For whatever reason, as we become more successful, I think we've all experienced this because that's been our goal. It's been our personal goal to achieve personal and professional success. But why is it when you move higher up the financial scale, you get rocks thrown at you more often?
Oh, yeah.
And that's challenging. And I've heard a lot of people say too, the more successful you are, the lonelier it gets. And that's a challenge too. And you're right, it's hard to develop new relationships and friendships with people that align with your values and with your character because you're all kind of, I would say you all have a little bit of armor on, and you're protecting your peace and you're protecting your soul. And how do you continue to be vulnerable? Because I think when we can be vulnerable with each other and ask for feedback, it's amazing. But then I think we're also kind of sitting here going, but I don't want to share too much. I've had clients over time that I met this one gal that she's phenomenal. And I think she's destined for great things. It took me a long time, probably 6 months or more, for her to actually tell me what she wanted to do. She was so afraid to share it with me because she's afraid I was going to take it and do it for her. She's like, well, in the past, I've shared my ideas with people and then they just went and did it. I said, okay, but what's keeping you from doing it?
What if you just did it?
What if you just did it? And don't be so afraid by the competitive edge because the pie isn't infinite, and what you're doing, you're going to do it differently than somebody else. And that, we talk about, Danielle, your area of expertise, branding, you can have a gazillion people doing the same thing, right? They're in the same box, they're in the same lane, they're in the, they're coaching, they're doing real estate, they're doing whatever they're doing, but their message is a little different. How they're showing up is a little different and how they present themselves is different. And I feel like just like how you find a life partner, there is somebody out there for everybody. And I don't think we should all ever be concerned if no one's going to like me. No one's going to think. I guarantee you somebody will. Somebody out there is going to identify with your message and your way and your character. And if you stand in that and be confident in that, that's going to, leapfrog you ahead and what you're all about.
Right.
So
I think it's harder for people to just do it or focus on what their true mission is because they don't like themselves, right?
Yeah,
There's something about starting that is scary because a part of you, what if it actually is successful?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
And so going back to authenticity and being authentic to who you are and branding yourself. I mean, I'll just use me as an example. For so long, I was trying to imitate other people's purposes or missions and goals. And I was trying to do what everybody else was doing. Anthony and I went through this season of just taking all the coaches and experts that we listened to and trying to duplicate everything.
and what is the right way?
And what is the right way? And
Yeah.
it's just kind of listening to Myron Golden the other day, he talks about literally just do it because you're in this season where no one is really paying attention to you. So who cares?
I've got
Who cares?
great news. Nobody's
watching.
Nobody's watching. So just do it.
And it's just it was music to my ears. It's this is the season to practice and get comfortable with yourself. Get comfortable with who you are. Authenticity attracts alignment. It literally, if you just focus in on going inward really and just say, you know what, I like who I am. I'm waking up confident and I'm doing the things. I don't care if I look pretty, getting comfortable, getting on live, getting comfortable turning on the camera and just not editing it, right? You're talking to a perfectionist who used to do all these things. And then I have my coach over here across the table staring at me if you don't just press record, if you don't just do it, who cares about perfection? And so I think it's because, we've walked into this world and season where, filters are a thing and, you're getting on social media and you're seeing all of the professional edits and videos and you're I want to look like that and be like that. But I realized that I think people are in that season of, they have all the equipment, they have the videos and the edits and all that stuff because they were also in a season prior of just doing it, which has launched them forward to this space of now having all of the resources to do it in the way they actually want to do it. So I just think that like, it just goes back to like yourself, love yourself, right? Like get comfortable just like being who you are, because there's something about your DNA that is truly powerful. But if you're so focused on looking at what everybody else is doing, you are wasting so much time not like figuring out what is so special about you. Like literally, it says it in the Bible around like God knew you before you were even born. But it's like going back to, you have to literally focus on him and focus on what makes you special. There's something about you. If you're still alive and living well, and I know it sounds like so simple, but sometimes I have to go back to the principle. I'm waking up every day because there's an assignment on my life. There's something that I still need to be doing here on earth. So I need to move with intention because I'm still breathing and alive and well. If I was, God forbid, but like passing away tomorrow, whatever the case may be, like, did I complete my assignment? Because I'm so worried about other people. I'm so worried about copying other people and like, having all these reels and having all these likes. It's like, I do not care anymore. Like, I do not care.
I gotta
go viral. Like, what is that? Like, no.
Yeah, somebody said that to me the other day. They're like, a better way to go viral is if you do this or that or the other. And I go, I don't care. I'm not trying to go viral. They're like, what are you trying to do? I said, all I'm trying to do as a speaker and trainer is I want to create a library. So if people want to go find out about me, I got a buttload of material that's out on the internet that they can go find on examples of what I do. That's it. And they're like, and I want to serve people, because that's the best way to serve people is with these nuggets that we want to provide people.
And you said this before, you have to put in the reps.
Just got to keep on doing it.
If you just keep talking about it and not doing anything. I feel like we talk about, the 1% of wealth in the world or whatever like that. If you want to be the 1% of a person of influence, you have to start doing it.
Right.
Just have to start doing it.
Because no one's watching you.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They'll start watching you if you start doing.
Yeah. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day, is that I created a ton of content last year, like going into last year. Remember, I was telling Danny, I'm like, I'm up to 450 pieces of content, like reels.
Have you put it out there?
Right. And then Danny
He's
was like,
slowly putting it out there. He is.
She's like,
I'm proud.
Well, now it's not slowly. Now it's like, I think I'm doing
out,
two reels a week on 4 platforms.
Nice.
And so that's out there.
Yeah.
But the impact that I want to make is in people's lives with the different concepts that I like to share that I feel have been beneficial to me and other people that I've shared with.
Yeah.
What I tell people though is when we go back to character and authenticity, and this is a question for themselves, and this is a question for other people or opportunities that they meet with, is I heard this at a leadership conference by this gentleman by the name of Khalil. He says he's this big, black, posing. He played at Massachusetts football, so he's like 6'4" and just like intimidating.
Oh my God.
And he's like, time is the great equalizer. It will either promote you or expose you in all things you do. And I'm like, yes.
I agree.
Don't yell at me. Right? But I say that to myself all the time. Like if I was a person to sleep in or snooze my alarm, I might say, so you go back to that measuring statement, time will either promote, time's the great equalizer, either promote you or expose you.
Yeah.
Well, what just happened? If I hit my snooze, but I said I wasn't hitting snooze, I just got exposed.
Yeah.
Right? So we can use that as a measuring stick for ourselves, and you can use it as a measuring stick for other people. And I have the 2-year rule, is everything for me is always, well, what do you think about that person? And I always go, well, why don't you know? They seem like a really good person. Let's see what happens in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Are they still circling around the same thing and digging in the same
Are they still
muck?
circling?
Yeah.
Are they maybe their true character will be revealed because they can't hide themselves for 2 years. They can hide themselves for maybe 6 months, but can they hide themselves for 2 years? And there is actually some scientific proof behind that.
Yeah.
And it goes back to actually dating your partner before you become married. As they say, statistically, a human cannot hide themselves for 2 years. And so they say, date somebody for 2 years. And then, there's stories where people are like, we dated for like a day and they got married and we've been married for 87 years. There's always those outliers, but the probability says that.
Yeah.
for 2 years be in this thing of, I appreciate you, I like you, but I don't know where you're going to end up. So we're just going to hang out together, and I'm going to love you. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to hang out with you, and then we'll see what ends up happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
That's
good
so good.
perspective.
So there's also Omar El Takori says this. So if you're a content creator and you are interested in like trying to scale yourself in your business, because that's essentially all why we're here, is to help other people do that. He just says, like, going back to like locking yourself away, like be consistent for 1 year. Like literally, like what 1 year can do for yourself can literally like launch you so like exponentially forward that like you would be so amazed if you just would like put your head down and like be consistent every just for 1 year, 365 days.
Myron Golden said, and he heard it from someone else, right? The 10,000. He says, I did not try to go viral, and I did not try to become a YouTube star.
Yeah.
The only thing I intended to do was create 10,000 pieces of content.
Yeah. That's
Because
what
he
said.
had heard that somewhere.
Yeah.
And so his goal wasn't to become found. His goal was just to produce 10,000. And along the way, he said, I'll get better and better and better, kind of what Danielle said. Just do the thing and you get better at the thing.
Yeah.
And that's true for a lot of things, just people don't get started.
Absolutely. I hear a lot of people too, when they share their goals with me. I met with a potential client the other day, and she was talking about like, well, I'm in this lane of business right now, but I really want to do this lane of business. I'm like, that's so exciting. Tell me more. And the more she started talking about it, I could see her eyes light up, which was really inspiring.
Yeah.
But then she kept saying, well, I don't want to do it to make a lot of money. I don't want to do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
You're talking yourself out of being successful. Now, I know you're saying this to me because you're preparing yourself like, what if it fails? Like, well, if it fails, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And I'm like, I hope you're not going into this opportunity that lights you up inside, expecting to fail. Now, if I'm wondering too, when she's like, I've been talking about this for a while, and I'm sure people in her world, when she started talking about it, because it's a complete shift on her industry of what she's doing now and what she wants to do. And I'm sure there's a lot of naysayers. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, you got to be crazy. You got to be crazy to do this. And I said, those aren't the people you talk to about this. You talk to people that want to support you, but maybe, just like you said, what are those little bitty steps you can do now and those reps you can put in? Is it, creating 10,000 videos in a year or whatever?
Right.
Yeah.
That's accomplishable. And that's something you can celebrate. And I think people, if you're worried about the people closest to you supporting you, show them some success. Right. Show them something that you can accomplish and could be as easy as talking to a camera.
Another tip my friend told me was like, every time she opens up a social media app, she has to post a video. And I'm like,
oh my,
how many times do we open the app and just scroll? So I'm like, ever since she said, and this is my nail artist, by the way.
That's great.
And so ever since she has said that, it has been ingrained in my brain. If you open this app, you have to post a video. And I'm like, ooh, okay.
some pressure.
So
I never opened the app.
I'm like, now I'm responsible. Here we go. I'm like, even if it's like a reel or something. So like, that's another tip too. Like if I think it's just finding like what works for you. I think, I'll just use myself as an example, but sometimes you get overwhelmed with, like you said, what's the right thing to do? Like, should I do it like this? Should I do it like this? And it's like, you got to just like find a system that works best for you. So when she said that, I was like, okay, I'm literally every app that I open, I have to post something.
Wow.
So
That's a good discipline.
I know.
I probably would
It's
never
actually
open
hard.
my apps.
Exactly.
Get somebody else to open
I'll
my
stare
app.
at them and I'm like, okay, not today, not today.
my
But do you want to talk about our
Yes.
big event?
Well, do you want to start talking about it? We have something coming up late October that we hope you'll be excited about. So
I'm excited. So the other day during my stretching time after my workout, like I started putting together the presentation.
Let's go.
Right. And so as I'm putting together presentation, I'm ideating with chat and I'm working out my ideas because I want to create organization and clarity around it. I'm thinking about Danielle. Okay, so how can I tie Danielle into this? How do I tie Kirsten into this? How can I create a cohesive for all three of us talking, because all three of us are going to be talking from a different component. However, each one of those components are integrated.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the goal of what I'm going to share. So it was just fun because I was actually
so
visualizing the stage that we're going to be talking from, and not necessarily a stage, just being in front of the room on how we're going to be talking and sharing. Just even my Space Cadet head was actually, as we're sitting here talking now, was off in La La Land for, 30-second increments, like speaking with you guys from stage, envisioning the future.
Yeah. That's so
Yeah.
good. It's going to be so exciting. I think what really is like hitting home for me is that I remember, when did we talk about this? Early January. We were sitting across the table and we were like, could we imagine ourselves traveling and speaking and doing all these things? And then it's like, now we're actually doing it in this, local community as just a launching pad. I just think it's a beautiful thing watching it like all
exciting.
evolve
Yeah.
into this like point. And then next thing you know, October is going to be here.
It's going to be
soon.
here.
It will. I'm excited.
So
Yeah.
if any of you are interested in joining us for an in-person live event in late October in Topeka, Kansas, please let us know how we can get a hold of you. You can DM us. You can follow us on social media. You can respond to us within our podcast and get a hold of us. We would love to invite you and give you all the details on how you can register.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Danielle at some point in time, Danielle knows the things.
Yeah.
And so, and I think Kirsten knows some things. I know no things in regards to like how to collect everybody's information. But like, I'm sure there's going to be some type of click thing that will then take them into another thing.
Just
and that
follows
thing.
it
then-
That's how we all bring
Yeah.
our areas of expertise
That's
to the
right.
table.
Those
That's
things will
good.
go into something else,
Yes.
and and then we'll talk to you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you
We'll say,
sometime.
come to the event, hang out. Yeah.
But this is brought to you by the Entrepreneur's Edge. So Danielle, Anthony, and I'm Kirsten. And thanks for joining us and
Awesome.
engaging
Great.
with this conversation.
Yeah.